Joining us for a conversation is Judson Coulter of Rover Metals. Mr. Coulter, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me, Maurice. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today as Rover Metals has just announced an LOI to procure another critical minerals project, this time a lithium project positioned in Nevada. Before we begin, Mr. Coulter, please introduce us to Rover Metals and the exciting opportunity the company presents to shareholders.
We're a junior mining company focused on North American critical minerals and precious metal development projects. And it's really close to home that we are developing future mining jobs here in Canada and the United States. And that's our area of focus. And we've got a proven management team to take these projects to the next level. The Indian Mountain Lake project is a district-scale land package representing 30,000 acres of greenstone belt. The historical resource only represents 3% of the land package. The project has a rare correlation of high-grade copper and high-grade zinc values. What's really exciting for investors that are seeing our company for the first time, or even existing investors, Rover's just diversified and pivoted into critical minerals. We remain undervalued. We've just added another huge brownfields project that's got an incredible blue sky exploration potential. Our next financing will carry a flow-through tax credit of 30% as well as a warrant. And within the next 2 years, all of our historic resources will be moved to that 43-101 compliant resource. There's just tremendous value getting involved at this stage of the mining investor life cycle.
Well, speaking of critical minerals, Mr. Coulter, when we last spoke, Rover Metals announced its plans to aggressively expand its commodity portfolio to include critical minerals, which began with the acquisition of the Indian Mountain Lake project in the Northwest Territories, which hosts zinc, copper, lead, and silver. Now, Rover Metals has just announced a letter of intent to procure a second critical minerals project. Mr. Coulter, take us to Nevada and introduce us to the Nevada Claystone Lithium project.
Yeah, it's a great project. There's been water wells from civil engineers drilled historically, data that's been logged, and that was sort of what made us initially start to sniff around this area. And obviously, there's been several companies ahead of us in Nevada trying to make a proof of concept on Claystone Lithium. Their very exciting news release last week with out of Cyprus development. They had an economic recovery of lithium carbonate from their project, which is the Clayton Valley project. And we look what they've done in 3 years. They had their first drill program 3 years ago, with some high grade 1,000 ppm, 900 ppm lithium, and they've been able to move that all the way to the feasibility pilot plant stage in 3 years' time, along with permitting. And I just feel that that's really what the mining investor wants right now. In general, like a 10-year development cycle, it's just not happening. I don't think we're in that kind of market today. I don't think we've been in that market for the last 2 years. So this Nevada project really fits well with our want to fast track. We're talking that even the potential to quarry, because of the fact that there are these Claystone Lithium refineries that are coming online in the next couple of years. As I mentioned, there are several companies ahead of us. And we're just really excited. We've, a surface sampling that we've done to follow up on some of those historical water well, that were just in logs and PhD reports from the area. We've been able to confirm with a LIBS laser gun, as well as with our own surface grab sampling, 910 all the way up to 1,200 ppm lithium at surface. Our geologist that's designed our first drill program believes we should be drilling to about 60 meters of depth an RC rig, and that's where we're going to really see the better grades. We've got a 6,000 acre land package for lithium, and if you're again getting back to those comparables on the 6 or 7 other companies that are developing claystone, I would say only about half of them have a land package of our size. And really, that's we're obviously trying to make the case for a 30-year plus kind of mine life, that kind of blue sky, and a great jurisdiction. I mean, if you visit our website right now, you look at I flew a drone over the property. There's already hydro right across the claims. Like, it's right on the property. There's roads. There's a town nearby, with a skilled labor force available. So it's, when I talk about that fast track, this Nevada lithium project, we're looking to do a lot of forward growth in the next 3 years, really trying to follow, the best practice or best case example here with Cypress Development, follow in their footsteps.
Well, the location is ideal because Nevada hosts the only lithium brine mine in the U.S. How close are you to that mine, by the way?
Well, again, I just want to differentiate between lithium brine and claystone. So the problem in Nevada, generally speaking, and with all lithium brine, is the amount of water it uses. So the more sustainable long-term method here for lithium production, as we scale up to 2030 and 2050 and all the EV vehicles, I guess what's important about Nevada is it's the Tesla Gigafactory. It's on the backbone of EV battery production in the US automotive sector. But the fact that claystone lithium uses much less water is really, I think, the future of the lithium industry in Nevada.
Now, the price for lithium, and I'm referring to the lithium carbonate equivalent, has been soaring. And so the timing seems to be perfect. Can you share some of the macro fundamentals with us for lithium? Because there's a significant deficit approaching for lithium by 2040.
Well, everything in mining is about margins, right? So why would you buy and ship lithium from Chile if you can produce it right on the backbone of the US automotive sector, right there in Nevada? All of a sudden, wages aren't such a big deal when you don't have to pay thousands of dollars in shipping logistic costs, right? Not to mention much less water intensive process, so on and so forth. So, I think the macro, economics, look at the amount of advertising that's coming out for all the big four automotive companies that are finally releasing fully electric pickup trucks, like the F-150 Lightning, Rivian, like the Tesla Cybertruck, there's a revamped design coming on that. All those products are coming to market next year in 2023, right? And that's just going to scale to 2030 and to 2050 and beyond. So if you look at the price right now, I mean, I think it's $70,000 US per ton. That's just reflected in the macroeconomics. Best performing metal price this year in a down economy worldwide. Still a great performer, and that's not going to stop. I mean, the reality is these kinds of land packages that we just acquired, and this is not just, hey, we went down and we just prospected this overnight. This is a relationship of my board of advisors and our team that we've built over the last 6 years, right? So, we look at projects every week, and this has just been a natural process of growth from, our advisory board and, our network, both in the US and Canada. And that's always been our focus, is those jurisdictions that we've come across a project of this caliber.
Can you walk us through some of the highlights of the LOI?
Yeah, I mean, it's a deal that's built for the market that we're in today, which is, obviously the Toronto Venture Exchange is down, which is our primary source of capital for junior mining. So the deal that we've done is it's a $2 million US buy-in over the next several years to get 100% ownership. But in the next 24 months, really, we've just committed to doing, that's 2 years, right? The next 2 years, we've committed to doing a $200,000 RC drill program. And, that's very, very doable, and I think that's just really what we need to, I guess, really see the extent and grade of this claystone lithium at depth. So it's an absolutely made for this market kind of project.
Now, when will the exploration work begin, and what will be your focus?
Well, we're going to need to finance that. So subject to successful financing of, $200,000 US for this project, we're ready to start on this as soon as we can get an RC drill rig. That's after the financing happens. So, I would say that's going to be of everything in our portfolio. That includes copper, zinc, and gold. This is going to be our 6 month, laser focus for growth and development. And I think it's really going to bode well for our US listing and our DTC trading. I think we're going to really, the American investor, especially, this is close to home for them, employment, jobs, and production just to feed into the US automotive sector. So, you could talk about government policy too, if you really want to. Obviously, Biden's Inflation Reduction and Energy Act, automotive suppliers that are getting domestic supply of lithium are going to be able to continue to give tax credits. So we're aware of all that, not to mention military funding, even state by state funding for lithium. So, we're all the right infrastructure is there for this project. And, that is our 6 month focus.
Now, I've been getting a number of emails, and the question I'm receiving frequently is, why did Rover Metals decide to include critical minerals in their project portfolio?
Well, it's interesting you say that because prior to this interview, you shared that Sprott, what was the geologist name, the retired geologist from Sprott that did that Mining 101?
Oh, Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, so Andrew Jackson, I would say, for most Canadian juniors, lack of intellectual capital and ideas and, very fundamental exploration models is not the problem. My takeaway from that was it's access to capital. And so, when you're looking at developing assets, timing and access to capital is key. So for us, the access to capital is going to be in critical minerals in the next 12 months, period, right? You've got ESG funds, you've got, multi-billions of dollars from both the Canadian and US governments being allocated to critical minerals. I mean, this is also national security stuff too. Look at what's going on in the world, right? So we need to firm up these deposits and get them into our supply chain, copper, zinc. The US, like these drones, these taxi drones, which are also next gen tech for military drones. Like, if you look at what American Airlines has just purchased, that those drones for taxiing people around, those run off of lithium, right? Next generation technology needs critical minerals. Our gold projects that we own 100% of them with no annual holding costs, so they're not going anywhere. They're on our balance sheet, and they're in our asset base. But the growth, in terms of access to capital, is really we're in the right space.
Now, leaving the Nevada Claystone project, but sticking in Nevada, I see that Rover Metals has terminated its plans to acquire the Tobin Gold projects. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're working in Nevada now on lithium. We did some, I would call it, your typical phase one exploration. And yeah, I mean, there was potential for that project, but I just, we had annual holding costs with that particular project in terms of advanced royalty payment. And I just didn't see the value proposition of that particular project. Logistically, it was a little bit tough to get to. Whereas, this project is this Nevada Claystone Lithium project is really, a much better project to be developing. So,
leaving the property bank, what can shareholders expect in terms of news flow for the remainder of the year?
Well, we're going to be trying to get in and get this financing, obviously, to finance drilling in Nevada for lithium, and that's going to be our near-term focus. So, I can, hopefully, I think we'll be able to. We're already working on trying to firm up a driller, an RC drill rig. And so the news flow, I think, will be predicated on that. But we've also been able to, you'd mentioned the Indian Mountain Lake project in Northern Canada, which is copper, zinc, lead and silver. We've been able to, through public records in the mining recorder and the government of the Northwest Territories, obtain two separate airborne studies that were done, one in the 80s and one in the 90s. So we're going to be able to process that data on top of the, quite a large historic resource of 1.5 million tons of ore with, the 10% zinc, lead, and 5 million ounces of silver. And then we got about 10,000 tons of copper there as well. So we're going to be able to overlay that airborne data and really generate some very useful exploration models. And so we'll be working on that and news releasing updates to our website and our database for the exploration model for copper and zinc, on top of sort of concurrently moving to straight on drilling for Nevada Lithium.
In closing, sir, what would you like to say to shareholders?
Yeah, well, we're obviously, I believe we're positioned for success. Being a public company for the 6 years and specialized in junior mining, we're able to, we're not just a gold management team. We're an experienced team of mining executives signing good deals. Like if I encourage the investor to look at the terms of our acquisitions, signing good, smart deals. For these are assets that will be part of the company for the next 5 years and beyond, and being developed. So the great projects coming in, when markets are down like this is when you want to get these assets. They're not overpriced. So we've done a great job of that. I just really wanted to thank all of our team. And as the industry cycles back up, we're going to be, doing our work and moving these projects to the next level.
Last question. What did I forget to ask?
I think you've asked all the right questions. I really believe in the U.S. automotive sector driving demand for us. Again, these projects are all in our backyard. So I think we've covered it today.
Mr. Coulter, for someone that wants to learn more about Rover Metals, please share the website address.
Just to encourage them to visit our website at rovermetals.com. We're constantly updating the additional materials on the Nevada Lithium project, but we do have a page up now, and both the fact sheet and the corporate presentation will be up by the end of this week.
And that's a newly revamped website, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. That's correct.
All right. Mr. Coulter, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Wishing you and Rover Metals the absolute best, sir.
Thank you, Maurice.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.